Okay, so we're talking intellectual property this morning, and my guest is Mahama Issa. He is the Documentation and Research Officer at the Copyright Office here in Accra. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for coming in this morning to educate us on intellectual property and the law governing it.
Thank you.
Right, so let's start off first of all with you telling us exactly what intellectual property is. I mean, a lot of times we hear the word, it's thrown around, intellectual property. What exactly is intellectual property?
Intellectual property is creation of human mind.
Human mind?
Yes, when you create something, that's your intellectual property. And this is in the form of patent, trademark, copyright works, geographical indications, trade secret, industrial designs, just to mention but few.
Okay, so let's break it down a little bit. What is copyright?
Copyright, when we talk about copyright, before we get to that, we have two on patent, trademarks, geographical indications, trade secrets. And copyright, we are looking at literal works, artistic works, movies, films, architectural drawings, logos. All these two departments which are handling those properties are under Ministry of Justice. Of course, the industrial properties are handled by Research General's Office, and the copyright aspect is handled by Copyright Office. And the two departments are all under Ministry
of Justice. So these are the related rights under intellectual property.
Yes.
Okay, so let's take copyrights now.
Yes, copyrights, we are looking at literal works, artistic works, logos, architectural drawings, films, music. This is what copyright protects.
Okay, so when we say copyright, what do we mean by copyright?
As some literature shows that copyright, that before inventions of machine, the creator was having control over his creation, and that the person was having copy in his hand and he have the right in his hand. So he put his thing under his armpit. If they invented it around 14th century, the author began to lose the right because many people could produce more of those copies, and that's why there was the need to have laws to protect people's intellectual property.
Okay, so with copyright, for example, if obviously you need to register your copyright, what kind of conditions or what kind of requirements do you have to satisfy in order to be able to register? Yes,
but before we even get to that place, Berne Convention, which is the international law which was set up in 1886, said copyright should be automatic. It means that as soon as you finish your creation, you will have your right. You don't need to register. But
what if two people have the same idea?
Yes, if it depends on the express. If you have just not having the idea, you have to express the idea.
In what form?
The unique way you express the idea, that's what we can protect.
What forms can you express your idea?
Yes, you could. If it's a literal work, if you are able to express it, write it or something.
Must you publish it?
Not necessarily. If you
just
finish,
something.
Yes, the last full stop after your write up, you have your right. But I want to publicize people's intellectual property for them, for evidential purpose, and to authenticate people's intellectual property for them.
Okay, so automatically once you create a work,
yes,
it belongs to you.
Yes, according to Berne Convention.
That is your copyright.
Yes.
Okay, so why is there a need for people to register?
That's why I gave you the reasons. I said that in Ghana we register works because of three reasons. One, we want to create register of works. That's one reason.
What is a register of works?
And when you come to the copyright office to register, we have data on all the authors of works. So we are creating the register. That's the register.
Okay.
Now we also want to publicize people's intellectual property for them. And the last reason is that for evidential purpose, and to authenticate people's intellectual property for them.
Okay.
These are the reasons why we register.
Okay. Right. So what are the conditions that need to be satisfied in order for one to get their works registered?
Now, if you have your idea, you have to express it into tangible form, so that you could, if it is a book, you could print it out, bring us 2 copies, or if you want it to be in the soft form, then you can save it on 2 CDs for us. If it is music, the same thing. And if it is what movie, you do same.
Okay.
If it is logo, you print it on A4 sheet, you laminate it, write the title of the logo, and the one who designed the logo is its name.
Okay. Now, what, like I said earlier, what if two people have the same exact idea? Will you register both?
Yes. In terms of copyright, if it is independently created without copying from pre-existing works or works which are in public domain, we can protect that. Suppose in copyright, it means that if you take two people and you put them in two separate rooms and they come out with idea almost the same, and we know that they were not exposed to each other, they didn't copy from each other, then that means it can be registered.
Okay.
Yes.
What type of kind of rights does a copyright owner have?
Copyright owner have bundle of rights, because the law confers on the copyright owner that he is the only person who can reproduce the work, who can translate the work, who can adopt it in any form. That's exclusive right.
Okay.
So if anybody does one of this or all of those things,
they have infringed.
He has infringed.
I see. So reproduction, what else?
Reproduction. Translation, adoption. These are
the rights that a copyright owner has.
So they are a bundle of rights.
Okay. And obviously the person that registers it owns the copyright.
Exactly.
Solely.
Yes, that should be the case at the initial stage. Supposing you are an author and you have your book, when you come and register, that means you are the author at the same time copyright claimant. But sometimes somebody may decide to license it, to sell the right to somebody, especially the economic right. That when you do that, you are now just the author, and the one who bought the right becomes the copyright claimant, and that will depend on the licensing agreement that you have with that person.
Okay. Now, what about ideas and concepts? Are these protected by copyright? There's been a lot of arguments about this. Ideas. Yes,
ideas. When we talk of ideas or concepts, they are broad things. So you have to express the idea. Supposing we are in the classroom situation and a teacher tells us to draw a man playing with a ball, it's an idea. Now, somebody can draw the man, and the man will be heading the ball. If he bring it as his artistic work, we can register it for him. Another person can draw a man and he will use the left leg to kick the ball. It's the same, it's expressed, it's illustrating that idea. Now somebody can draw a man and he will chase the ball. All these are forms of the expression of that idea. So we don't want to restrict the idea to one particular person, especially the one who drew the man and he was heading the ball. If we do that, that will be end of invention. So the unique way you have expressed the idea, that's what we can protect for you. But we don't want you to say that I don't want anybody to draw a man playing with a ball. When we accept that agreement, we will miss the other dimensions.
Okay. Yeah. Can you transfer your rights?
Yes, that's what I said. In copyright, when you finish creation, you have two main rights. That is economic right and moral right. The economic right is talking about the exclusive the exclusive right I was talking about. That is the reproduction, adoption, translation. So when you transfer your right, you can only transfer the economic right to somebody. You sell it out to that person, and you may tell him, well, I'm just selling it to you, I've washed my hands from it, I don't need anything again. If you do this, then that's assignment. You only remain as author. Or somebody can license it by saying, well, I've licensed it to you for 10 years. After that, it reverts
back to
me. You understand? Or it says, if it is a book, I've given you a license only to operate in Oli Kumasi. You have to sell the book in Oli Kumasi. Then I myself will explore the other jurisdictions. So we have different forms of licensing. Yes, you can license your work. Yes.
All right. So what are the main objectives of the intellectual property law?
Yes, the objective is to protect creators of work. And one will give them monopoly.
And is that protection being given to copyright owners here in Ghana? Are our laws strong enough?
Yes, they are strong. Our laws are strong.
And they are working?
They are working.
They are being enforced?
Yes. Remember, intellectual property are private rights. So if somebody infringe, you can enforce it yourself.
Okay, right. So finally, would you advise, or what would be advice for people who create works? Would you say they should come in and register their works at the office? What kind of procedure is it? Is it a tedious one? Do you have to pay a lot of money?
No, depending on the works. Supposing if it is a literal work, it's just 35 Ghana cedi. If it is logo, it's 65.
For the entire registration process?
If this computer software is only 125 cedis. Okay. So it's not all that expensive. So we encourage people to come and register.
And it's a simple procedure?
Yes. Okay. If you, after registration, we'll give, within a month at least, we'll work on your certificate.
Okay.
And you have your
So what kind of event or celebrations are you planning to mark World Intellectual Property Day here in Ghana?
Yes. As the team... the theme for this year's celebration is Get Up, Stand Up for Your Right. Okay. So that's part of what we are doing. We are educating the people to know their rights, and they have to enforce their right. They have to get up and stand for their rights. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time this morning. We've been very educated here on intellectual property laws. My guest has been Mahama Issa. He's a documentation and research officer at the Copyright Office here in Accra. Thank you so much once again for your time.